The following is a project of our nonprofit newsroom. Support Midcoast Morning and local journalism today at chly.ca/donate. Local news doesn't survive without local support.
Hello and welcome to Midcoast Morning. I'm Joe Pugh. The best men's college basketball teams in the country will gather in Nanaimo next week as VIU plays host to the CCAA National Championships. The home team will be tipping off on Wednesday, fresh off a victory in the provincial PACWEST final earlier this month. This tournament will be the swansong for VIU men's basketball coach Matt Kuzminski, who led the team to a national championship back in his first season in 2013. I spoke with him in the lead-up to this year's tournament.
My name is Coach Matt Kuzminski. In my 14th year of coaching the VIU Mariners, 14th and final year, and excited about the upcoming national championships hosted at VIU March 18th to the 21st.
Yeah, and how are you getting the team ready for this national championship?
Well, I mean, it's, we look at this week and the championship this week, but really it's been a process that's gone back to, as soon as we started off-season programming in about May of last year, guys training and preparing all summer. And, then the season's been no different. We've been chipping away. One of our main core values is a Japanese word called kaizen. It's intentional, continuous improvement. And that's kind of what we've been focused on right to this last week. We're trying to improve on certain little areas that I think will help our execution and help us, become a better team this week than we even were last week in the provincial championship. So it's about continuous improvement and, continuing to try to get better right to the end.
And you won that provincial championship last week. It's my understanding that the Mariners have in fact made 17 straight appearances in that provincial final. What do you attribute that success to?
I attribute that success to VIU just having a great program. I mean, prior to, me and my staff coaching there, Tony Bryce did a great job, and now he's doing the same thing with the women's job. So we inherited a program that was in a good place, and, we've been able to bring in the right people, the right coaches, the right players, and with a lot of hard work and year-round work, we've been able to keep that going. So it's a combination of those things. But yeah, when you zoom out and you look at it, 17 years in a row in the provincial final, and all, my full career, we've been in the provincial final game. That's quite an accomplishment. And it was great to be able to win it this past weekend.
And I understand that you in your tenure have helped the team win the national championship a couple of times. Can you talk me through what those experiences were like?
Yeah, so I took over in 2012, 2013 with Coach Scott Marr, who's still on the staff. And, back then we had a couple other coaches, but we came in as fresh, young guys, eager, and we were able to, kind of figure things out on the fly and learn on the fly and get better as the season went on. And we ended up winning the national championship in our first year in 2013. We were back in the national championship final game 2 years after in 2015. We lost to Humber, getting the silver medal. And then in 2019, we had a very special group and we were able to win the national championship again. I think we have been to, in the 13 years that there were seasons, not counting the COVID year, I think we've been to the national championship final for 7 of those years, I want to say. We have 4 national medals. So we've had a ton of success at the national level, always being kind of top nationally ranked. And we got another strong group this year, looking to sort of cap things off in a really special way at home, hosting the national championship, the men's basketball national championship for the first time, I believe, in VIU history. So it's a really special opportunity.
On the court, is there a particular area of focus or a real strength you feel for the team?
I think we got a well-rounded, versatile team that plays together, that shares the ball, that's going to be prepared to face I think whatever comes our way. I think we're well coached. We've got a really good combination of veteran leaders who have a lot of experience both at the PACWEST level and at the national level, combined with some new guys who are, really impactful to our team. So I think when teams come out and see us play, they're going to see an intense defensive team, a well-connected team that shares the ball offensively and plays with pace. And it'll be an exciting brand of basketball.
And I understand that you grew up playing basketball in Nanaimo. Could you just maybe tell me about your connection to the sports community and just the community here?
Yeah, so I moved to Nanaimo in grade 10. I went to Dover Bay and played senior boys basketball there at Dover Bay for grade 10, 11, and 12. My grade 11 and 12 year, I was actually coached by Mark Simpson, a legendary coach who has been coaching with me at VIU for the past, I believe, 7 years. So the connection there runs deep. And as soon as I finished my kind of college and university basketball career, I played at UVic and Simon Fraser. I knew that Nanaimo was where I wanted to be. So me and my wife came back, and I didn't expect to be coaching at VIU at such a young age. When I got the job, I think I was 25. And, that's kind of been my whole adult life has been, my identity's been the coach of VIU. So yeah, it's definitely a big part of my life.
And you came in, and by the sounds of it, you had immediate success. The team has just continued to have success while you have been there. What do you think you have learned about coaching basketball over that time and through all that success?
Well, I've learned a variety of things. Number one, we take the core value that we have for our guys, Kaizen. I think all our coaching staff, we demonstrate that, we model that. So that's about continuous improvement. So there's been a constant learning stage. And I think if you ever think you have everything figured out, you're probably wrong. So we're always, trying to learn new things, whether that's watching clinics or videos or talking to other coaches. So there's been a continuous improvement from the coaching staff. And then I think from the side of the players, they've bought into that as well. And then the relationship side of things has been a big focus. As one of my strengths, I believe, as a coach is building meaningful relationships with the players, showing, unconditional care for the players, and, really trying to have that as a foundation so that they feel a sense of belonging and, safety to improve. And I think, that's been evident in guys who have gotten better. We've had guys who stay in our programs for a long time. So I think it's, relationships, continuous improvement, and creating an environment where, young people are excited to be a part of and they can thrive as individuals.
And how have you seen that translate off the court in your 14 years as a coach?
I've seen it translate off the court by ways that are probably the most meaningful, where now some of the guys I coached in my early years are, parents. They got families. They're coaches in the community. They're colleagues who, one of my players I taught with in the first year is now kind of my teaching partner here at school. So to see them grow up and become positive, contributing members of our community, that's been a huge part. And then, kind of as this is sort of wrapped up in my last year, we've had some celebrations with a lot of those guys, and to have, what are now grown men come up to you and tell you how much you impacted their life and, what you did for them, that's as meaningful as anything to me.
And so it's your last year. Your school is hosting the national championship. Your school also won the provincial championship going in. What are your hopes and expectations for this upcoming week and a bit?
Well, immediately at the start of the year, when we first met with the team, we set a vision for the season that we would win the CCAA National Championship on our home floor in front of our family and friends. And that's kind of been a vision that's sort of been a guiding post for us. However, we know that the day-to-day approach, trying to meet our standards for performance in every practice, in every game, trying to win the day, we believe that when you do those things and you really pursue those standards at a high level, then the score takes care of itself. So, today we're going to practice at 5 p.m. and, while we get the national championship right around the corner, our focus is today having a good practice and see if we can get better in practice and address the, kind of the key learning points of practice. So we really try to look at it as a day-to-day approach. And then we believe if you win the day and you stack in days, that will compound over time and you'll get better. So the vision is there to, have our success at the national championship, but it's about the practice on, today, be getting better. And then when we do get to the tournament, it'll be about focusing on our first game against Lethbridge and just taking it, day by day. I think what's important about that too, and the things that we've preached with our guys about, just meeting our daily standards. Can we play to our standards? We're going to ask the exact same thing that we did in the league game in October or November as we will in the national championship. We don't need any heroic performances from guys. We need them to try to meet those standards. A really good quote to sum it up is, you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to the level of your training. So we've trained at a high level, and we're going to ask guys to do their job, and I think they'll find some comfort in that.
Do you have an idea of what's next for you after this chapter at VIU?
Yeah, me, Coach Scott Marr, Coach Chris Marsh, we are starting a basketball prep school at a local place here called Aspen Grove, which is a private school. So we've already got that going and up and running, and we started at a younger age where all of our kids fall into that age group. But next year we'll be building that up full till, I guess kind of your grade 13 prep, so to speak. So it's a completely new endeavor. It's still basketball focused. It'll be a bit more of a family affair as we're kind of doing this with our kids, but it'll still be working with the same guys. And I think doing something that the community needs, the West Coast needs, and something that can be, really impactful.
What kind of message would you have for the community in terms of the atmosphere you want them to help you create for this national championship?
I think it's already going to be in the works. I think we're going to see a packed house on Wednesday at 6 p.m. for our first game against Lethbridge, but we need the fan support. Part of the reason, and part of the advantages of hosting is that you get the crowd on your side, and we've had great crowds at VIU. So I hope it's a packed house. I hope the fans are rowdy and showing their full support for the Mariners.
Coach Kuzminski, thank you very much for taking the time, and good luck this week.
Much appreciated. Take care.
Matt Kuzminski is coach of the VIU Mariners men's basketball team.
Midcoast Morning is part of our nonprofit newsroom project, supported by listeners like you. Keep this program on the air by funding it today with a monthly sustaining donation at chly.ca/donate. We've got tote bags and shirts if you need an incentive.
The best men's collegiate basketball teams in the country flock to Nanaimo next week for the Canadian Collegiate Athletic Association's National Championship, hosted at VIU. Kai Leighton is a fifth-year member of the VIU Mariners men's basketball team. I caught up with him ahead of the tournament.
My name is Kai Leighton. I've been at VIU for 6 years now. I'm a fifth-year forward, and I'm from Prince Rupert, BC.
And you are getting ready to compete in the national championships here at home next week. What has that been like for you?
It's been exciting. I'm kind of a guy who doesn't really get too excited for things until it's sort of like the day of, and I think Tuesday, Wednesday next week it'll sort of hit me, and I have tons of friends and family who are coming down, which is going to make it even better.
And I understand that you had what I imagine for most people would be like the sporting moment of a lifetime in the provincial championship game, just recently hitting a buzzer-beating, game-winning 3. Can you take me through what that was like?
Yeah, I think that shot was kind of just a testament to my teammates. I mean, if you were at that game and if you watched that game, that pass came from Winston Cole, one of our guards, who was like right before that shot went down, there was probably 3 to 4 plays in a row where he's just going off script himself and he's making a play. So, and other guys coming up big, Keontae Ryan getting that rebound before the shot. So it's just, I think that shot is just a culmination of guys playing well. Like the guy who was guarding me on the last play, he probably doesn't take that step towards me if Winston doesn't have the last 6 points for us. So, but it was a good feeling for sure.
And I was talking with your coach, Matt Kuzminski, this morning, and he was talking about this year-long journey, this kind of philosophy of Kaizen, continuous improvement. I'm wondering if you could tell me what that has been like from your perspective as a player.
Yeah, so that's something that he's pushed all year and all the years that I've been here. And it's just something that when you think about it, doesn't really just apply to basketball. That's about overall life. And I think if there's one thing that we're all going to take from our time as players at VIU, it's going to be that. You're just always trying to get better. Small increments every single day, whether that's basketball, whether that's school, relationships. So I think that's a great principle for anybody, non-athletes, to imply in their life.
And could you talk to me about what the significance is of this national championship for you? Maybe not even just like outside of the context of this 1 year, but for your whole career of playing basketball here at VIU.
The national championship is, since I came to VIU, it's sort of the one thing that's evaded me. It's the one thing that I've wanted for the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, we've been undefeated. My first couple years, we were undefeated and ranked 1 all year. And that's probably, those two teams are the most talented collection of basketball players that I've ever been on. And those teams weren't able to get it done. And it's just something that I think I've wanted, the coaching staff and all the guys that I've played with have wanted for so long. So it's a great opportunity, and we're just hoping to play well, put it all together at the right time.
And your opening game is next week, Wednesday at 6 against Lethbridge, if I've got that right. What are you focused on ahead of that?
I think just making sure that everything else outside of basketball is taken care of. Make sure that I'm eating right, sleeping right, taking my vitamins, doing my hot cold therapy, doing my yoga. And it's also nice that it's here, so my regular routine schedule won't change at all. Wednesday, I plan on being at my 2:30 to 4 class right before the game. So I'm just trying to stick to my routine as much as possible, just so that it's just another week.
How would you describe, for fans of basketball who maybe aren't familiar with the VIU team, do you feel like your team has any kind of specific identity on the court?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that in terms of teams in the PACWEST, we're probably one of the best or the best examples of just more modern positionless basketball. We have a lot of guys who are interchangeable at the guard and forward position, and we play at a fast pace. We like to get up and down.
And once this national championship becomes a memory for you, what are you hoping to do once you finish your time playing here at VIU? Do you still have plans to be involved in basketball some way, shape, or how? Yeah,
I think for the last couple of years, I've been helping out with the Special Olympics basketball here in Nanaimo, and I think that in some capacity over the next couple of years, I would still like to be coaching in some way, for sure.
Is there anything you'd want to share with people about what the basketball community in Nanaimo here is like?
I would say that the basketball community here in Nanaimo is one of the most supportive communities that I've ever been a part of. It's a smaller, sort of a tight-knit community, but they really help us out. They help us out with the support. We got the small businesses that really help us out a lot, and it's just basketball in Nanaimo is a great thing to be a part of, and you can see that in our high school teams as well. Dover Bay, NDSS, Wellington, all these teams, Island basketball, especially in Victoria too, is becoming a huge thing, and I think that's something to look forward to.
Is there anything else you'd like to let the community know ahead of next week's national championship? I
would say come out, support. Our gym staff has done a really excellent job in promoting this and making sure that this is a really fun and safe environment for fans to come out and support. It's going to be a good time, and I hope we get as many fans out as possible.
Well, Kai, thank you very much for taking the time to do this, and good luck next week.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Kai Leighton is a member of the VIU Mariners men's basketball team competing in the National Collegiate Championships the school is hosting next week. Matt Carter has been working behind the scenes to help organize this championship. I spoke with him Thursday at VIU.
Hey everyone, my name is Matt Carter, Communications and Sports Information Coordinator with the Vancouver Island University Mariners, and also game day PA announcer.
And you are putting on the National Men's Collegiate Basketball Championships. next week. What goes into organizing an event like that?
I'd almost counter by saying what doesn't go into organizing that. Getting your qualified teams here from across Canada, arranging travel, hospitality, accommodations, setting up an army of volunteers to help out, getting our old barn on Wakasai Avenue, the VIU gym, set up, and and a lot of long hours. But if you're in sports, why would you not work towards opportunities like these? Best basketball in the country right here in Nanaimo. A lot of hours, a lot of sweat, but a lot of joy.
And I understand that at one point you had been looking for volunteers to help out with the event. Do you still need folks?
Yeah, we've had a good amount of folks who have set up to volunteer, but there are still some shifts available. Honestly, shifts available for folks of all ages. Whether it's concession stand working, sweeping the floor, greeters at the door, helping with VIP, all sorts of stuff. There's an iVolunteer form online you can also find through gomariners.ca. And it's also a great way to get in and do your shift and then watch some games for free.
What do you think is important the public knows about how they can come and participate in this?
That's a great question. I would like the public to know that this caliber of basketball doesn't come to, especially small cities in Canada, very often. It's very, very rare. And it's kind of cool because, again, these teams, they haven't played each other throughout the year, right? We've got a team from Fredericton, New Brunswick that's going to go up against a team from Toronto, a team from Montreal playing a team from Victoria. So they're all just going all out, representing not only their school, their careers, but their province. And so there's an extra special level of competition there that really makes for electric basketball. So I would say to even if you're not a basketball fan, if you're just a sport fan, an event fan, again, this doesn't come around very often. Come out and check it out, and it's probably the most affordable sport ticket in town.
How about on a basketball level? What is the basketball like for people who maybe, watch basketball sometimes on TV at the Olympics or in the NBA or something? What stands out to you about this level of basketball? What is the game itself like?
The game itself, I would say Canadian basketball, maybe a little more physical than what you might see, say, in some American leagues or international competitions. Here you don't quite have, like, you're not going to have a ton of players that are, say, 6'9", 6'10", 6'11", that height. It's a little bit shorter, so a lot of the speed game is really emphasized, a lot of quick ball movement, some really clever and creative plays. But as I mentioned earlier, because these teams haven't played each other, they don't know each other very well. But once that first quarter's done, they know each other intimately, and it's go time. So that level, I'd say, of energy, ferocity really starts to pick up. And so, again, they're playing for national championship. This might be the only time in their careers they do. So you're going to get 100% effort all the time.
And as you've been organizing this, what are you hoping to show off about Nanaimo to all of the teams from all of these different provinces who are coming here for a visit?
What we want to show off about Nanaimo, is the basketball community. There's been a wonderful legacy of both men's and women's basketball at VIU, stretching back 50 years, but especially a ton of excellence over the last 20, 25 years. The club basketball programs in Nanaimo are wonderful. There's some prep basketball programs starting up, Island Swish, other programs. The high schools like Dover Bay senior boys just finished second in the BC provincial championships at the highest level. So I think, the basketball community overall is really going to stand out. But also the VIU gym, it's an older gym. It doesn't have a lot of the bells and whistles that other bigger schools might have. But it is a darn good place to watch a game. The acoustics are awesome. It gets loud. Crowds right by the court. So I think for fans and for the teams that come here, they're going to be like, that was an awesome experience. What a great place to play a game.
You talked about Dover Bay. That is where Coach Matt Kuzminski was a senior playing basketball in high school. Now he's been the coach of this team for 14 years. Every single one of those, they went to the kind of provincial final. This is his last season. What have you observed about the work that he has done from your role in all of this?
Matt came in here as a really young guy, and there were a lot of folks in the community that sort of questioned his hiring because he was so young. but won a national championship in his first year and has absolutely preached a team culture of accountability, of leadership, of camaraderie. He's brought in some wonderful recruits from across the world, as well as developed some incredible homegrown players. And he's just someone that gets buy-in from his student athletes, expects excellence, and you've seen it in the results. I mean, he's won something like 90% of his games since becoming head coach. And we're definitely going to miss him, but we're certainly hoping for a fairy tale ending here at the National Championship.
I know it's going to be hard to be objective on this one, but you get a front courtside seat to the VIU Mariners men's basketball team games. The March 3rd rankings had them 8th in the country, albeit since then they took the provincial championship against the number 5 ranked team from Camosun. How do you rate the chances of the home team going into this national championship?
The home team has a good chance and has a real honest-to-goodness chance. Once you get to the final 8, even from teams across the country who don't play each other, they're all excellent. They're all either conference champions or wild cards. So to run it down quickly, so the Humber Hawks, they're the defending champions. Mohawk College is going to be there. They're hosting nationals next year, so they've loaded up with a really good team. Camosun Chargers Victoria, they are an excellent, experienced squad. You've got Lethbridge, sort of shocked everyone. They had some great additions in their second semester. Keanu College has been out here for exhibition games. They know the gym. They upset the previously undefeated number 1 ranked team in the country in SAIT. So every team is going to be good. But do the Mariners have a chance? Absolutely. Will a strong home crowd maybe put them over the top? I'm willing to find out.
Matt Carter, thank you very much and good luck with the event.
Thanks, Joe, and thanks so much for speaking with us. Really appreciate it.
Matt Carter is Communications and Sports Information Coordinator with the Vancouver Island University Mariners. Quarterfinals in the National Collegiate Men's Basketball Championships tip off Wednesday, March 18th. That's our show for the day. Thank you for joining me. I'm Joe Pugh, host and producer of Midcoast Morning. Jesse Woodward is our executive producer, and RB Frew is our technical advisor. You can sign up for CHLY's newsletter at chly.ca/subscribe. If you have a story you'd like us to cover, you can email us at news@chly.ca. Our theme song is First One by local Nanaimo band Waste Management. That's all for now. We'll talk to you on another Midcoast Morning.
This program gives thanks to the Nanaimo First Nation as we broadcast and podcast from their traditional territory. Thanks for listening.